Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us at Loveworld USA News tonight. I'm Joel Richard, and first a quick look at the top stories this evening. House Republicans urge post-shutdown votes to extend ACA subsidies, reject tying measure to funding bill. Appeals court allows President Trump to deploy National Guard to Portland, but timing remains unclear. Trump administration reaches court deal to expedite student loan forgiveness and prevent tax penalties. And President Obama returns to campaign trail to boost Democrats in tight governor races. U.S. Marshal into suspect wounded in Los Angeles immigration raid after vehicle ramming, officials say. And now to the news. 13 House Republicans are urging Speaker Mike Johnson to take up an extension of Enhanced Affordable Care Act premium tax credits immediately after the government reopens, while rejecting Democrats' push to link the issue to the ongoing shutdown fight. In a letter led by Representatives Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey and Jen Keegans of Virginia, the group thanks Johnson for his shutdown strategy, but says the government funding debate is not the time or place to address healthcare issues. Now, once the government is reopened, they write, the House should immediately turn our focus to the growing crisis of healthcare affordability and the looming expiration of the Enhanced Affordable Care Act premium tax credits. Now, Democrats have pressed to renew the COVID-era subsidy boost before year's end and are using the shutdown as leverage. GOP leaders have said they're willing to debate the subsidies on a separate track, but won't attach them to a stopgap spending bill. The Republicans backing the letter argue that allowing the credits to lapse would risk real harm, while signaling they want changes to target aid and restrain costs. The push exposes splits inside the GOP. Freedom Caucus leaders have blasted a clean extension, blaming the enhanced credits for driving premiums higher, and insisting any renewal be paired with offsets and broader health policy changes. Now, the subsidies, which were expanded in 2021 and extended through 2025, lowered premiums for millions on ACA marketplaces. Without further action, they phase out next year, potentially raising costs for many enrollees. In other news, the Federal Appeals Court today cleared the way for President Donald Trump to deploy National Guard troops to Portland, Oregon, granting the Justice Department's request to pause a lower court order that had blocked the move during ongoing litigation. In a 2-1 decision, a Ninth Circuit panel said the administration's 60-day deployment plan was a measured response to unrest surrounding protests outside a federal immigration facility. The ruling lifts one of 2 temporary restraining orders issued earlier this month by U.S. District Judge Karen Emergit. The second, broader TRO, prohibiting the administration from sending Guard units from any state into Oregon, remains in force, leaving the timeline for any deployment uncertain. Oregon Governor Tina Kotek said Guard troops cannot deploy until the district court addresses the remaining order. The Justice Department has argued that both TROs are legally intertwined and should rise or fall together, a view the appellate panel acknowledged even as it acted on only one of the orders. The White House praised the ruling, however, saying the president is lawfully protecting federal personnel and property following violent riots that local leaders have refused to address. Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield criticized the decision as granting the president unilateral power to put Oregon soldiers on our streets with almost no justification, while urging for the judicial review to vacate the order. Let's take a look.
The Trump administration can move forward with plans to deploy National Guard troops to help protect the ICE facility in Portland following a ruling Monday from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. In a split 2-1 vote, the 3-judge panel overturned a lower court order temporarily blocking the deployment. The ruling comes after oral arguments on October 10th, when the 2 Trump-nominated judges appeared to side with the federal government.
I'm sort of trying to figure out how a district court of any nature is supposed to get in and question whether the president's assessment of executing the laws is right or wrong.
In Monday's ruling, those same 2 judges found that troops under the president's control are needed to relieve federal officers who they say are stretched thin, writing, the continued deployment of Federal Protective Service officers to Portland is unsustainable, and state and local law enforcement have been unable or unwilling to assist the government's efforts to protect federal personnel and property at the ICE facility. In response to the decision, Oregon's Attorney General issued a statement explaining if the ruling is allowed to stand, It would give the president unilateral power to put Oregon soldiers on our streets with almost no justification. We're on a dangerous path in America. The dissenting judge, a Clinton appointee, said her counterparts got it wrong, specifically noting how protesters in costume and participants in a naked bike ride run counter to the president's characterization of Portland as a war zone, writing, "Today's decision is not merely absurd, it erodes core constitutional principles." The state of Oregon and city of Portland are asking the Ninth Circuit to reconsider and want a larger panel of judges to review the decision.
We've received news today that the Trump administration has reached a court-supervised agreement with the American Federation of Teachers to accelerate student loan forgiveness for eligible borrowers under income-driven repayment and public service programs. Now, the deal, which is awaiting court approval, requires the Department of Education to complete debt cancellations in 2025 and ensures borrowers will not face federal tax penalties for the forgiven amounts. Under the agreement, the Education Department will cancel loans for borrowers who have met repayment requirements through income-driven or public service loan programs. Borrowers who continue making payments after qualifying for forgiveness will be reimbursed. The administration will also process all pending buyback applications and submit 6 monthly progress reports to the court showing the pace of discharges. The deal addresses concerns over a tax bomb expected in 2026, when a change in federal tax law would treat forgiven loans as taxable income. By finalizing cancellations before the end of 2025, affected borrowers will avoid additional tax burdens caused by administrative delays. The case, AFT v. U.S. Department of Education, was filed in March 2025 after the administration temporarily suspended enrollment for certain repayment programs. Now, with this settlement, the government has formally committed to delivering the debt relief authorized by Congress, while maintaining oversight from the court to ensure timely compliance. In other news, former President Barack Obama is returning to the campaign trail ahead of key gubernatorial elections in New Jersey and Virginia, where Democrats are fighting to regain political ground following recent losses at the national level. Obama will headline rallies for Democratic candidate Representative Mickey Sherrill in New Jersey and former Representative Abigail Spanberger in Virginia on November 1st, just days before voters head to the polls. Now, both races are considered close, with polls showing tightening margins against Republican challengers Jack Ciattarelli in New Jersey and Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl-Sears in Virginia. Democrats are hoping Obama's popularity and national recognition will help energize turnout among their base. The former president's involvement comes as his signature health care law, the Affordable Care Act, remains a central campaign issue amid ongoing policy debates tied to the federal government shutdown. Republicans, meanwhile, say the move reflects Democratic weakness in traditionally blue states. President Donald Trump has endorsed Ciattarelli and is expected to host a tele-rally in his support, while other prominent Republican figures campaign alongside him. Now, both parties are viewing the contest as early indicators of political momentum heading into the 2026 midterm elections. The news will be back after this break.
The angels of healing are operating right now. Angels of God moving around. And the healing grace and power of Jesus Christ
The surge of power.
is surging through your home right now.
Are you ready for this testimony?
This October, get yourself ready, because a miracle
Currents of power.
is about to happen with you.
This just in, a U.S. Marshal and a man accused of being in the country illegally were wounded today during a federal immigration operation in Los Angeles after the driver of a boxed-in vehicle allegedly rammed government cars in an attempt to flee, according to officials briefed on the incident. Agents opened fire when the vehicle struck theirs, striking the suspect in the elbow. One marshal was hit in the hand by what appeared to be a ricochet. Both were transported to hospital and are expected to survive. The U.S. Marshals Service, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and the Los Angeles Police Department did not immediately comment. The confrontation unfolded as federal immigration raids across Southern California draw sharp criticism from local leaders. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass on Monday called for a congressional investigation into what she described as unlawful detentions of U.S. citizens and immigrants. She said roughly 170 citizens have been detained nationwide. The Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors last week declared a local state of emergency, citing fear and business disruptions tied to the operations. Now, the Department of Homeland Security has defended the enforcement push, saying it targets criminal illegal aliens, and noted the U.S. Supreme Court in September allowed raids to resume after a brief pause. The incident remains under investigation, including a review of use of force protocols and whether additional arrests are expected. Now, authorities did not immediately release a suspect's identity or the precise location of the shooting. Watch this.
Okay, this is a Fox News alert. This is video that we just have in from moments ago from Los Angeles. This is according to multiple ICE and Fox News sources. A U.S. Marshal and an illegal alien were both shot in L.A. this morning. It was during an immigration operation. Both at this time, we are told, have non-life-threatening injuries.
And now on the business front, Warner Brothers Discovery, the parent company of CNN and HBO, announced today that it is open to a potential sale following unsolicited interest from multiple parties. The company's board has authorized a comprehensive review of strategic alternatives to determine how best to maximize shareholder value, CEO David Zaslav confirmed in a statement. Zaslav said the review will explore several options, including completing the company's planned separation into two entities, Warner Bros. And Discovery Global Networks, or pursuing transactions involving either or both divisions. The company emphasized that no final decisions have been made and that there is no set timeline for the process. The announcement comes after Warner Brothers Discovery unveiled plans in June this year to divide its studio and cable network operations, with the split expected to conclude by mid-2026. The move was designed to strengthen each segment's financial position, but growing outside interest has prompted the company to reassess its strategy. Shares of Warner Brothers Discovery rose 9% following the announcement. The media conglomerate, formed through the 2022 merger of Warner Media and Discovery, continues to face challenges in the competitive streaming and cable markets, even as major studios, including Paramount and Skydance, are reportedly exploring acquisition bids. Let's take a look.
Shares of Warner Brothers Discovery soared as much as 12% in Tuesday morning trading after the company said it may put itself up for sale in what would be the latest shakeup among legacy media brands. The consideration of an outright sale comes amid unsolicited interest from potential buyers. A source told Reuters on Tuesday that Comcast is likely to examine the media firm's assets, which include CNN, HBO Max, and the Harry Potter franchise. CNBC reported that Netflix is also among the interested parties. Earlier reports named Paramount Skydance CEO David Ellison as a potential buyer, with Bloomberg News reporting that an initial bid by Paramount was rejected for being too low. Ellison is backed by his billionaire father and Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison, whose political ties to President Donald Trump could help smooth any regulatory hurdles, according to analysts. Shares of Warner Brothers Discovery have surged to 46% since reports of Paramount's interest surfaced in September. Paramount declined to comment, while Netflix did not immediately respond to Reuters' requests for comment.
China's Ministry of State Security has accused the U.S. National Security Agency of conducting a multi-year cyber operation targeting its National Time Service, which maintains the country's official time standard used across telecommunications, banking, and defense systems. Now, according to Beijing, the alleged operation began in 2022 when the NSA exploited a text messaging vulnerability to gain access to employee devices, then used stolen credentials to infiltrate servers and install covert tools. Chinese officials claimed hackers deployed 42 specialized cyber attack weapons to conceal their activities and potentially disrupt national timekeeping functions. The NSA responded that it does not confirm or deny operational claims, but stated its mission is to defend the United States against foreign threats. The U.S. Embassy in Beijing countered that China remains the most active and persistent cyber threat to American networks and critical infrastructure. Now, both nations have traded accusations of cyber espionage for years. American intelligence agencies have attributed several large-scale data breaches, including Operation Salt Typhoon, to Chinese state-linked actors, while Beijing has repeatedly claimed the United States engages in cyber hegemony, targeting Chinese systems and events. Now, stay with us. The news continues after this break.
It's easy to set up, quick to start, and packed with value. Smarter streaming starts here with the Alpha TV Stick. Just plug and stream anytime, anywhere. Discover a curated lineup of content designed to inspire, live broadcasts and global events, inspirational films and series, children's programming, healing and teaching sessions, all on demand. With millions of downloads worldwide, the Alpha TV app is transforming lives across the globe. And now, we're on a mission to reach 1 billion downloads of the Alpha TV app, and you can be part of it. Join the global wave with 1 billion Alpha TV app downloads worldwide. Bring the higher life into every home. Order your Alpha TV Stick today and experience smarter streaming. Alpha, the higher life is here.
Now, on the international front, in Southern America, Bolivia has elected Rodrigo Paz, a centrist senator from the Christian Democratic Party, as president, ending nearly 20 years of continuous rule by the Socialist Movement for Socialism Party. Paz secured 54.6% of the vote in Sunday's runoff, defeating conservative former President Jorge Tuto Quiroga, who won 45.4%. Now, Paz campaigned on a platform of capitalism for all, pledging to open Bolivia to foreign investment, strengthen the private sector, and address severe economic challenges such as fuel shortages, inflation, and dwindling gas exports. He has promised to reduce fuel subsidies, expand credit for small businesses, cut certain taxes, and crack down on corruption. Paz's message of economic reform and political moderation resonated with voters seeking an alternative to years of socialist leadership. Now, relations between Bolivia and the United States, which have been strained since 2008, could improve under President Paz. Washington welcomed his victory, expressing interest in working with the new administration to stabilize Bolivia's economy and strengthen security. Now, observers say Paz may distance Bolivia from leftist allies like Venezuela and Cuba, while maintaining trade ties with China. Paz will take office on November 8th alongside Vice President-elect Edmond Leroy, a former police captain known for exposing corruption. The new government faces major challenges, including a divided electorate and a deep economic crisis. But President Paz's success will likely depend on balancing fiscal reform with socialist stability in a country long shaped by socialist rule. Let's take a look.
With Sunday's election, 2 decades of socialist electoral dominance was always going to be brought to an end. The question was by which of the pro-business candidates? Rodrigo Paz scored victory with a comfortable margin to beat out his rival Jorge Quiroga. The son of a former president, his vow during the campaign was capitalism for all, a marked change from the political views of the previous 2 decades.
From this victory, we extend our hand to govern with all men and women who love the homeland. This is not an ideological issue, because Bolivians know ideology doesn't feed us. What feeds us is the right to work, strong institutions, the rule of law, respect for private property, and having certainty about our future.
Rodrigo Paz aims to get the country out of crisis through decentralisation, lower taxes and fiscal discipline. And some voters are hungry for change.
With elections going all around the world, Japan's parliament today elected Sanae Takaichi as prime minister, making her the country's first woman to hold the post and elevating the ultra-conservative Liberal Democratic Party leader after a late coalition deal restored enough votes to secure her appointment. Takaichi succeeds Shigeru Ishiba, who resigned following stinging election losses that cost the LDP its upper house footing last summer and its lower house majority last year. Takaichi, a longtime security hawk, pledged to strengthen Japan's defense and economy and called the United States-Japan alliance the cornerstone of Tokyo's diplomacy as she prepares to host President Donald Trump next week. I'm determined to build a strong Japanese economy and protect Japan's national interests with diplomacy and security, she said after the vote. Her rise is historic in a country where political power has been dominated by men. Takaichi's path to power was smoothed by a last-minute pact with the right-leaning Japan Innovation Party after the LDP split with its longtime, more dovish partner, Komeito. Now the new government inherits immediate tests, taming persistent price pressures, drafting economic support measures by December, and navigating a crowded diplomatic calendar that includes President Trump's visit and regional summits. Watch this.
Japan is witnessing history. Sane Takaichi was voted in by the parliament as the country's first female prime minister on the 21st of October. The 64-year-old has already won the race to lead LDP on the 5th of October, but had to scramble for support after the party's moderate coalition partner quit their 26-year alliance. A last-minute deal with the right-leaning Japan Innovation Party saved her bid. On Tuesday, she won a clear majority, 237 votes in the lower house and 125 in the upper house. With this, she is all set to take the ruling LDP to the elections in 2028. She is now expected to unveil a set of market-friendly plans to boost one of the world's most indebted economies. She is an advocate of fiscal laxity, tax cuts and easy monetary policies, and is a supporter of late Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's Abenomics model.
Just before we end the news, let's have a quick look at tomorrow's weather forecast. And to end the news, let's have a quick look at the top headlines. House Republicans urge post-shutdown vote to extend ACA subsidies and also reject tying measure to funding bill. Appeals court allows President Trump to deploy National Guard to Portland, but timing remains unclear. Trump administration reaches court deal to expedite student loan forgiveness and also prevent tax penalties. Former President Obama returns to campaign trail to boost Democrats in tight governor races. U.S. Marshal, suspect wounded in Los Angeles immigration raid after vehicle ramming, officials say. And that's all the news we have for you today. Join us at the same time tomorrow for more news. I'm Joel Richards signing off. God bless you, God bless our armed forces, and God bless the United States of America.